much more beneficial if they can hear the same thing repeated, you know, in all the different areas they go to. Because, like for Miss Montgomery's struggling readers, they met with her a couple times. Some of them went to Miss Wallace. Some of them came to me for Title I for, you know, intervention. Some of them just came out in the hallway. Some went to Miss Brendan. So if we were all using that common language like we do with our phonics progression and that kind of thing, then that's really a dose that can help them instead of hearing a little hodgepodge of everything. We felt like if we could be cohesive with our approach to them, then that would just really solidify for them, you know, what we wanted them to learn. And especially during that silent sustained reading time. You know, if they've got those tools to pull from and they're engaged in a text that's, you know, just right for them, then they're going to continue to be able to practice those tools and they're going to continue to grow as readers.
So hopefully you like these posters and tools. The posters are printed for you in your blue folder. The bookmarks are available as a free download, and this is the website, but it's on a blog. It's called First Grade Factory, and the lady's name is Alicia Lockridge. And it has the posters, if you wanted to print more of them, they're available. If you want them, instead of having them in landscape, if you want to have them turned the other way, she has them available turned the other way also, if that works better in your classroom. And then she also has the bookmarks, and they are 2 to a page. And this is some information, just kind of tells what she has. This one, I'm planning on printing this out for all of my parents and sending it home to explain what each strategy is, because I feel like as a parent, if I were not in education and I got that little bookmark, I would have no idea what they were talking about on several of them. So this one gives a lot more information to help them understand what the child needs to do to use this strategy. And it's all on one page, so it's convenient.
And I think also, didn't she have a parent letter that was already prepared?
Yes, it's the second
home.
page. Should be
So
the second page.
that would be something easy for you guys to print out and send home that you don't have to sit down and type. You
And
know,
she is
that
so
would
nice,
explain.
she ended it and put like a comma and left a place for you to sign your name right there. And, you know, it basically explains that those are strategies they can use if you get stuck on a word. So, I plan on printing that and sending these two home with my students with their bookmarks. And then, of course, all this will be put onto teacher storage if you're at CCPS so that you have access to it.
And what these wonderful ladies did as well that will be on teacher storage, they made a lesson for their particular strategy that would be low, medium, and high. So that you could have just a reference if you were working with higher kids kind of in the middle of the road, and then your struggling students, just that you would have a reference to pull from. So those will be uploaded on teacher storage for you as well. So that's available. And one thing that we kind of felt was nice about this was, you know, here we're all about our level text, and sometimes you pull out a level text and it's kind of a challenge, like to find a phonics skill that you want to pair with that, or to find sight words maybe that they don't already know and that kind of thing. And this just gave us another way to teach them what they need, but also to utilize that level text. So it just gave us another approach for teaching our kiddos when we were working through this, through some conversations that we had. So that kind of lessened our load a little bit when we were planning. Do you guys have any questions up until this point? Ms. Wallace had mentioned that the air conditioner was running earlier when those little video clips were being shown. So I don't know how well you could hear. I was back there. I could hear really good, really well because I was sitting by the speakers. Is there anything that y'all wanted to go back and hear before we go on in the presentation? Or you videoed out? Probably videoed out. Y'all good? They're very quiet. Okay, and the next thing that we were going to do, kind of wrap everything up, and you ladies can help me out. We really didn't anticipate this many people, and I apologize for that. We were going to let you guys have a time to work with a group, and we selected some books for you guys. opportunity to get with some colleagues and look through some text and figure out how you might apply these strategies to these texts. Because we found out in CCPS world that it works nice, since we use level text a lot, to find our text that we want to teach with first, and then figure out our skill from there. So we pulled our text, and we're going to let you guys work with a colleague. Have to be a kind of large group, I guess, at this point, because we didn't pull a lot, and see which one of the strategies that you felt like you could teach using these books. And we're not asking you to like write a formal lesson plan or anything like that. If you want to, by all means, go for it. But you could just kind of brainstorm like how you might apply this to these texts in your own classroom, how you felt that could be used. And we're here to kind of support and scaffold you. Yes, dear.
I had a question. Tamisha, how many days a week did you do a lesson like that in your small group?
I was kind of thinking, like on my higher groups, maybe a couple days of strategies and then a couple days of phonics. And maybe with my really high group, one day a week with a skill. And then once you've taught all the skills, they kind of have that in their bag. So it was more of at the end of the lesson, reminded them to use it during the lesson. And at the end, when we were going over comprehension, I'd add in the question, did anybody find any words that they had to use a skill to figure out? Were there any tricky words? And just have them tell a word they found in the story, or, maybe we read 3 pages. So once I had taught the initial lessons and I saw them using them, then I would just kind of review it more with my higher groups.
So just depending on your group, you just picked a skill
Yes.
and just went with it. And how long did you stay on that skill?
I think it depended on how long it took them to get it. I think most of them I probably taught 2 or 3 times. Like Skippy Frog, I think we did 3 different lessons on it, and then they were pretty much using it independently. Like in the clips, you can see some of them like use the skill, and then others you had to work through. I mean, because that kind of depended on, was it the first lesson we taught, or was it the 3rd time that I had taught that lesson? If that makes sense.
I will say for me, like, at the end of the spring is kind of when I started using this with Tamisha.
Yeah.
And so, like, with my title kids or my intervention kids, like, I had already taught, like, Chunky Monkey. I didn't call it that, but, like, they already knew how to use that. So, and they really had a good phonics background, so they could decode pretty well. But it was kind of teaching them, like, the Trying Lion and the Flippy Dolphin. Those were kind of the 2 that I focused on more, because they kind of had mastered all the other, even though I hadn't taught it explicitly, I had called it those things. My kids kind of were here at this point because they were level HI readers that I had in that group at that point. And so they had a lot of tools in their belts already, and these were just some new pieces for them. And I felt like it made a tremendous difference for them in their text that they interacted with me, but I saw a big change with their confidence when they sat down to read period. So that's how I applied it this year. And I mean, it'll be different the upcoming year because I'm going to start fresh with all of these. But we wanted to give you guys some ideas, some ballparks about levels, just so you would kind of have that in your head, a framework to go from that way.
I think like in Mickey's example, she was teaching EE and EA, and she used Stretchy Snake with EE and EA. So she actually used it with a phonics skill too. So I think it just kind of depends on what level they are, because
And what they need.
the
still
low-level
at that
readers
point.
may need a whole lot of phonics, so I might not, I might just teach every few weeks. I might pull out one of them.
Because the way we ended up orchestrating title, Mickey had the more, I guess, strugglers of the strugglers, and I had the upper ones because there were some days I would be in meetings that I couldn't get to those kids. So I had the higher ones, but she was still working in her group on some of the, I guess, the lower level ones like Stretchy Snake and Eagle Eye and Chunky Monkey and things like that. If they were clapping out onset and rhymes still with her groups working on Chunky Monkey, whereas my kids were past that. So we moved on to the ones that might be a little more complex, that you would need more complex words to interact with.
And then, like I said, once you've taught them all and they're using it independently, then hopefully they're in higher text, and I just kind of review it to make sure they keep using it.
And that's what, like, sometimes as my kids were using those higher level strategies, they might, stretch out a word or something. I would say, well, that was one of our strategies. We knew how to do that. That was our Stretchy Snake or whatever that they used. So it kind of just kept it refreshed in their it that we could do 7 in a group?
Well, two groups of 8, 1 of 7.
Okay, okay. So if you guys wanna count off, like number off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you wanna do that?
They need to go to 8,
Burns.
but they're still gonna be
That's
more
8.
if we do them.
Well, we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that could be a group.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ladies mind working together? I think from Miss Robertson around. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, I think,
Miss Robertson. Sorry. Sorry, we didn't have any big groups.